There were things that I loved about this draft for the Twins. There were things that I didn't really get. What's up? This is Tom Froming. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. We're talking about the 2021 Minnesota Twins draft. So great to see a bigger draft again this year. The draft is shorter than it has been previously, 20 rounds instead of 40 like it was in years past. But we only had a 5-round draft last year due to COVID. And I think that actually had an impact on this draft. And we'll talk about that later. I do want to start out right at the top, though, with Chase Petty. This is the highlight of the draft. Of course, you want to feel like that with your first-round pick anyway. But I think for picking 26 and getting a high school pitcher who throws 101, I know there hasn't always been a great track record with these type of guys staying healthy and developing. But we're talking about the 26th pick here. So there's not a whole lot of guarantee. That the MLB draft is the ultimate crapshoot. I should mention that out the start. Any opinions I have, any opinions that you have, I'd love to hear them regardless. But nobody really knows what's going to happen. We're not going to find out really how good these classes are, really how well the Twins did for about probably 6 to 8 years. Really is the evaluation period you need for an MLB draft, which is absolutely insane to think about. So Chase Petty, we're not going to see him for ages. He's a high schooler, but I still love this pick. Again, it's a crapshoot. So if you're at 26, there's a very low percentage chance you're getting an impact player. You're getting even a contributor. I looked through in the best number 26 picks in the history of the draft, and the draft's been around since 1965, mind you. Alan Trammell, okay, that works. Dave Henderson, number 2. Dan Plesac, number 3. And then former Minnesota Gopher Brent Gates was the 4th highest number 26 overall pick in terms of Baseball Reference WAR. Guy who had a nice career. I think he played about 6-7 years. Certainly that's a pretty high outcome for a ball player if you make yourself into a major leaguer. But we're talking about a first rounder here that goes to show you how little is kind of guaranteed with these picks. So I love just taking a lottery. Again, I just recorded a video about how velocity has been a huge thing that the Twins are still behind on. They're sort of improving, but as they improve, the league stays a step ahead of them. So with that being the case, how can I not love them going out and getting basically the hardest throwing high school pitcher in the entire draft? True ace potential. They talk about the chances that this guy might have 3 solid pitches. You throw that hard. With that being the case, high risk, high reward. I'm really excited. Again, it's going to be a very long time before we see him emerge, but I love that pick with a 26th pick overall. And then I almost feel like this may have been a reaction pick at the 36th pick overall in the competitive balance round. The Twins picked Noah Miller. What's to like? Safe, high floor. What's not to like? He's a Scotty. I'm just kidding. Don't go Scotty. I'm joking. It was a joke. Okay, lighten up. He's a Wisconsin guy. It's kind of weird though. How often do you hear a high school player kind of described as a safe, high floor pick? I like Noah Miller. I didn't necessarily love this pick at 36. I could kind of get that it was maybe a reaction in a way to the first pick, but they went with a risky guy in the first round to take a high school guy who still has some upside. No doubt about it. I don't want to undersell that with this guy, but maybe they went a little safer. If he has the possibility to stick as a shortstop, which that's kind of the game breaking thing here. It sounds like he's got a pretty offensive, especially bat to ball skills, the power. He's in high school. Who knows how he's going to develop physically? If he can stay at shortstop, that's going to be the X factor to how high of a prospect I think he's going to turn out to be. But again, Noah Miller was their second pick of that first day. The first pick of their second day, Stephen Hajjar. I like this one too. So I really like the way the Twins got out. After those first 2 high school guys, I felt like I really wanted them to get some college pitching on day 2. They did that. I didn't really necessarily love everything they did, everything they went about that. But I did like how they got started here with Stephen Hajjar. Again, after the 2 high school guys, you go with a college guy. This is a big, physically impressive left-hander out of Michigan that they took with the 61st overall pick. He hit 97 in the bullpen during the combine. That's not what he throws in game situations, letting it air out. Basically, probably has zero command if you ask him to throw that hard, but it kind of shows you what's there. And he's said to have three solid pitches. He had a 32.2 K percentage in 2021, so struck out nearly a third of the batters that he faced. Very impressive there for his performance. Again, I really like this pick. But again, just to kind of go back to that comparison, do you know who the fourth best number 61 overall pick is ever in the draft since 1965? That would be former Twin Jesse Crain. So kind of keeping, again, some perspective. On the other hand, you have guys like Bailey Ober getting drafted in the 12th round and making it into the major leagues. Tons of other examples. So I don't want to discredit any of these players or where they are drafted. Just trying to sort of add some context. That were some of the questions that I got on the channel on the videos I shared from draft night, the coverage on MLB Network, is kind of what can we expect from these guys? So that's kind of why I wanted to throw those numbers out there so you get some context into just how much of a crapshoot the MLB draft is. But again, I really like the way they started things out here with these first three picks. There were no other high school picks for the Twins beyond this. And really after about the fourth round, you don't see a lot of high schoolers getting drafted anyway because being a minor leaguer is not the greatest thing ever. You really have to rely on your signing bonus that you get at draft day to carry you through kind of your career as a minor leaguer until you make it into the major. So, the further down you go in the draft, the lower your potential is to get a big signing bonus. So, why not go to college, have the college experience? Oh, by the way, in addition to trying to build your draft stock, don't undersell that. Get an education. Also, I mean, if you've seen any college baseball, the atmosphere at some of these places is amazing, unrivaled in minor league baseball, that's for sure. So lots of reasons why high school guys would want to forego the draft and choose to go to college instead. So nobody picked a ton of high school guys after the fourth round, so not surprising there. But I thought it was a little unfortunate that the Twins only took two high school guys. I'm going to touch on that a little bit later, but they seem to focus after Hajjar in particular on pitchability, which, I mean, there's something to trying to get some more certainty with your picks. Again, keeping in mind that the Twins only had 4 draft picks last year, so they may be feeling a bit insecure about filling out their system, getting some more certainty again with some of these picks. Some of these guys who I didn't love the picks, who kind of top out in the high 80s, low 90s. I don't love them as prospects, but they do seem like really likely guys to pitch their way up and give themselves a chance, make it to. There's some high school guys that don't even make it to high A. So keep that in mind when I'm throwing that out there. But it felt like they went safe. They went a little bit more position player than I would have liked, I guess. The Los Angeles Angels used all of their draft picks in this draft on pitching, which I don't necessarily think that was the greatest strategy, but I do find it hilarious and awesome. I wouldn't have hated it for the Twins, to be honest. They took only pitchers. I wouldn't have hated it, but they didn't need to go that extreme. I did feel like I would have liked more pitching than they got. But the couple third basemen that they drafted on day 2 both intrigued me. And then, so a couple of the pitchers I really like. We'll talk about those guys in a sec. But there were a lot of these pitchers that they took on day 2 that really, no offense, but they don't jump off the page to me. And maybe these are good command guys who can really spin it, who the Twins maybe think they can squeeze some more velocity out of. That was sort of a thing that Cleveland's been very successful with. Derek Falvey coming from there. Maybe that's the line of thinking here. I'm not sure. A lot of people were weirded out by the 2 catchers in day 2. I think Noah Cardenas, I really like the guy to use. I really like both catchers, actually. Pat Winkle, too. I agree, though. I don't know if you go catcher, I think it was 8, 9, 8th round, 9th round. That maybe seems like overdoing it. I think there was probably some really good, really experienced college catchers you could have got a little bit later in the draft. But catching is really important. I mean, I don't want to undersell that. The better catching you have, the better your pitchers are going to be. The better catching you have, maybe the better you're going to self-scout your pitchers because you're getting a more true representation over what these guys can give you. So I don't want to undersell that. And, after the Twins graduated Ryan Jeffers and Ben Rortvedt, yes, they've looked set at the catcher position with Mitch Garver, too, at the major league level for a number of years. But I do feel like organizationally down in the minors that's kind of maybe become a weakness, which is kind of natural when you graduate guys, 2 guys of that level. So just some talk there. They only drafted one outfielder in the entire draft, and that was Kyler Fedko, who was the Big East Player of the Year. With how many infielders end up playing outfield anyway, like why not? Why not focus all your position player almost pool on infielders? So I thought that was interesting. But let's take a 7th inning stretch here on the video and talk about the Twins' recent success or lack thereof with high school draftees. So again, last year in 2020, it was only 5 rounds. The Twins only had 4 picks. They've selected Marco Raya, was the only high school, or the first high school guy that they drafted in the 4th round. He has not made his pro debut yet, working at the complex there. He's going to be 19 early next month. So these guys are going to be slow to come around. Again, that's sort of the one thing about high school picks that's rough. In 2019, of course, their number 1 pick in that draft was Keone Kabako. And he was their only high school signee. They drafted some other high school guys, but they didn't get them to sign. And he is 20 years old and A-ball this year. He's having a much better performance than in his kind of troubling pro debut. In his draft year, he came in and really struggled. But he's showing some flashes with Fort Myers, and I certainly am still really high on him. Going back to 2018, a guy that they took, Charles Mack, in the 6th round. He's 21 and still an A-ball as a catcher, so switch positions again. So 21 years old, only an A-ball, drafted in 2018, and that's how far he's come along. Just kind of throwing these out there to give you a picture of what kind of that track of getting through the minors is like for high school guys sometimes. 2017, we go back there. The Landon Leach was a 2nd rounder that they drafted. He's now 22 and has only thrown 38 innings as a professional since being drafted. Lots of injuries as a big Canadian. I really liked the pick. Got, I think, like a $1.5 million bonus. This was the year that they had all that money. And then they also took Ricky De La Torre in the 6th round out of high school in Puerto Rico in 2017. He's been released. So that, again, 2 guys that they drafted pretty high in the draft and invested in. And, I mean, the odds are against Leach. Hopefully he stays healthy and puts it together, but they're probably going to come up with nothing. And again, these are guys who haven't even progressed through the minor league system, let alone contributed to the major league. And then 2016, this was the last draft pre-Falvey era. Holy smokes, did they crush it. Alex Kirilloff, Ben Rortvedt, Jose Miranda, Akil Baddoo were the first 4 picks for the Twins in that draft. Of course, unfortunately, the Twins not reaping any of the benefits of drafting Akil Baddoo now, but still give him credit for identifying him in that draft. And they also got Jordan Balzovic out of high school in that draft. So you might not have liked everything that the Terry Ryan era or previous to Falvey Levine did, but holy smokes did they kill it in that 2016 draft with the high school guys. All right, so 7th inning stretch, we're done. Take me out to the ball game's over. Flipping back into the regular talk of the 2021 draft here for the Twins, this class. And I want to mention, we talked about some of the things maybe I didn't get or didn't love. I want to talk about the 2 guys after those first 3 picks that I do really like. And, we talked about how uncertain the draft is. So why not kind of shoot for upside? Why not? If it's unlikely that a lot of these guys are going to make it, you can't do this with every pick. You want to get some certainties. Why not shoot for some upside? And the 2 guys that I really liked in those were Christian MacLeod, the left-hander that they took out of Mississippi State in the 5th round, and Brandon Birdsell, the right-handed pitcher out of Texas Tech they got in the 11th round. MacLeod, his draft stock fell because he did not have great numbers this year for Mississippi State. He had an ERA over 5. But if you look at how he performed game to game, he actually started off really good, and then in about the last month of the season in the College World Series struggled. Now, you don't want to see that. You don't want that to be the case. But, the reasoning why they threw out on the draft coverage was because he was potentially wearing out as the season went on. And if you think about it, he was a freshman in 2020, the COVID-shortened season, didn't probably log all that many innings. Maybe there's a legit reason why that was the case. So taking him in the 5th round when his talent, he's got a great curveball, when his talent level maybe suggests he could have been a 2nd rounder, I love that pick. I love that pick in the 5th round for the Twins. Again, that was Christian MacLeod. And then Birdsell, the first guy they took on day 3 in the 11th round out of Texas Tech. Lots of injuries. Again, there's a reason why these guys fall. Lots of injuries with this guy. You don't love that. But he's been clocked at 98 miles per hour. You get that? I mean, clearly there's a reason he fell, but 98 miles per hour in the 11th round. And he's also gets good grades on his slider. So already a guy who seems like he profiles like he could be a potential big league relief pitcher, high octane reliever. So again, Brandon Birdsell, another guy I love. I think he had Tommy John in high school, and now he had a rotator cuff injury in college. So, and I watched him pitch a bit. He doesn't look like he uses his body maybe as well as he could. So we'll see if maybe the Twins can help him along in that regard and keep him healthy. Always a challenge for any pitcher, but guys who throw hard and have an injury history, there kind of seems to be that trend that it's going to continue. But I mean, hell, if you get an 11th round pick up to the major leagues for a season, that's a great 11th round pick. So I loved that pick. So those are my favorites. But again, hey, let me know. It's not like I'm some kind of a draft expert or amateur baseball, enthusiast and know all these things. I'm sure there are people watching this video who know tons more about some of these guys than I do, or have intel on some of the guys we didn't mention that would be really valuable. So please, if you do, throw it out there. Or even if you just have opinions like me, throw them out there too. Let's get a good discussion going. If you like this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing for more Twins talk here on YouTube. Thank you.